What is going on, everybody? We're here at lovely Lime Rock Park today. The weather's looking, not sure how that's going to show up, but there's a good chance of rain for qualifying and especially the race. So my tire situation, picking out the best used ones I have. The full treads were on it from the last race last year, but yeah, excited to try out some new stuff and see what we can do this weekend. Alright guys, so not doing a whole lot. Running the RA1, the full treads. Even though the track is dry, there's a really good chance it'll be wet for next practice, like the rest of the day. With the flat floor, the shocks and everything, it's like there's a lot of variables. It's not like I'm going out there to like set a record, so I don't think it's worth swapping tires just to go out and kind of run some slow laps to feel everything out. Pretty much the only thing I might do is put some shock shims in it. I did a video on these last year or so. Whoops. And if you look where the bump stop stops and how much of the shaft there is, there's only about a ½ inch between the hard bump stop and the shock shaft. I'm sorry, the shock body. So if I don't want to change the ride height, but the car bottoms out, especially in the downhill, you get that compression, I can always put some of these in. This car is so Aero loaded, riding on the bump stop isn't the worst thing. I know it's a little bit weird for most setups, but kind of works for this. So that's about all I kind of am going to do first session. Alright guys, just got done practice session 1 and I actually really enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. Even on the RA1s, I did a 57.7, and just for reference, last year on the RRs in qualifying I did a 56.6, so I was about a second slow. Second off of last year. Not really pushing, just feeling the car out on RA1s. So I think all things considered, I'm happy with that. I looked at the few concern areas where the exhaust gets like really close to the floor, but I'm not really seeing anything. So we look good there. I had the notch right there, that looks pretty good. And then the diffuser looks good. The inside face of the rear tire felt a little bit warmer than the outside, like when I say face, you know, sidewall, because in the last video I mentioned the exhaust kind of hits the tire, not really, but I looked at it real close, no blistering or anything, and pressures came up normal just like the front tire. So you know, so that's all good. So yeah, now I want to see what the weather's like for session 2, maybe put the RRs on it. Let's see, I think that's about it. Car was barely scraping, but again, I wasn't really pushing either. So I think I'm not really going to change much for next session other than tires, if anything. And I think that's it. Alright guys, so I'm going over data from this session versus last year. And you can see I'm kind of braking early for turn 1. I'm losing, I did a delta across it, that's what that line is. I'm losing about 3/10, 4/10 almost, just in braking into turn 1. But the other big discrepancy is the downhill. I'm losing another 3/4. So if you look at lap times, I did a 56.6, 57.0. I was only able to do a 57.4, 58.1. So I put the RRs on for this session. The car seemed to pick up a little bit of a push. So you can see I'm happy with this little bit right here. That's, I believe it's West Bend. Consistently faster through that. But since the car's pushing a little bit, plus the race, qualifying in a little bit, probably going to be in the rain. I want to throw the upper canards on the front to take care of that push a little bit, hopefully. And then if it rains, obviously swap tires back, but that'll be about it for this one. Alright guys, so as you can see, the rain is here. It's wet, but it's not like standing water. So in a situation like this, unless it picks up, we're going out in like a half hour. It takes about 15 minutes to swap tires if I need to. So I'm gonna see if it picks up a little bit more, but honestly, I think the best bet might be to keep the slicks on it instead of the rain tires. Oh, now here that I'm talking, it's actually coming down pretty good. And then, look, now it just really picked up. Oh, geez. Yeah, I'm talking about it. I'm like, I don't know. And I added, I put the upper canards on because the car had a push to it. And I was only able to manage a few tenths better with the RRs and the RA1s, but, you know, the track warmed up and some other variables, so. It stays like this for 10 minutes. Alright. GoPro, stop recording. Alright guys, so we're under a little bit of a delay. Somebody in the session before us went off. I'm not sure how good the exposure is, but you can like barely see raindrops hitting the windshield. And some of the small puddles I can see, hardly anything hitting. There's even like a little bird flying around and chirping. So yeah, so I think I made the good choice to stay on the RRs. Some of my competitors went to the Hoosier Wets. We'll see. What's up everybody? It is Saturday. The schedule's a little bit different today. We're doing a double race setup because Lime Rock isn't allowed to race Fridays or Sundays. So yesterday's dry session with the RRs on it, like I mentioned, I was able to get a couple tenths out of it, but the front kind of picked up a push. So I did some tire temps. And what I did was I ended up adding a little bit of camber to the front left because again, this track is all rights and only one left-hander. And I also added canards. So my dry setup I think should be pretty good. I should be able to do like mid to low 57s the whole race. Don't know if I'll hit that 56.6, but that was only one lap last year. And you also got to remember that this race last year was our third or fourth race of the season, so the car was like, I was comfortable in it. I haven't raced in 8 months, so I'm a little bit slow in like the downhill. I'm a little bit hesitant braking into the hard brake zone, but I was looking over data and I think I can get some good things from it. So you can see this is the downhill. You can see how much slower I was. The green, the light blue, and the dark blue are yesterday, while the red and the orange are way up here. And if you look at the mile an hour, red and orange, 106, 10, we'll call that 5. All the other ones, 100, 96, 95. So shoot, some of them laps, I was almost 10 miles an hour slower in the downhill. A little bit of being rusty, a little bit of being the car having a little bit of a push. I got to go back and look, see if I had the canards on last year or not. But the cool thing is, you can see even though I'm much slower in the turn, I regained that mile an hour and end up matching my mile an hour last year. So what that kind of tells me is that the flat floor is definitely making the car a little bit slipperier. Because if I carried 10 more mile an hour through that turn, which I'm almost positive I can, you know, I should see a couple extra mile an hour by the time we get to the braking zone. So that would be cool. So I'm losing time there, losing time braking through one. But yeah, so these few changes should be good. Like I said, today is just 2 races. So let's see what we can do. Alright guys, so I'm doing the walk of shame right now. My left rear tire let loose. Fortunately it happened on the straightaway and not like in the downhill or uphill. So you know, I kind of got lucky. I knew I was pushing those tires pretty hard. The amount of downforce in this track, and maybe the exhaust slightly warming up that inside shoulder, although it looks like the outside shoulder let go. So having a solid rear, not being able to get any camber in the rear tires, I think it just like, I don't know, I think it just like cooked that outside. So I can maybe do like a quick playback. Oh look, they're lifting, they're picking up my tire. And there's my floor. There it is. Bye floor. It looks like it's still solid. So I might be able to reuse the floor, just have to redo the mounts. So anyways, I'll take the floor off. I got extra tires. I'll get ready for the race this afternoon and maybe just kind of see how the car feels. Maybe try something, tinker with something, we'll see. You can see like the mounts. Well, you know, it's probably hard from here. I'll look at it when I get it back. But yeah, it's probably not like salvageable for this weekend. But anyways, learning experience. Kind of knew something maybe could happen and it did. Learn from it and get better for next time. Initial assessment of the damage. So obviously there's the tire that let go. We did get the floor black. It's mostly in one piece. You can see those two mounts ripped out. They're actually still hanging on the car though. That one came off, kind of bent. But the problem is you can't really see it. But if I put my foot on it and like lift up, so the floor, even though it's in one piece, the core delaminated internally. So it's pretty much junk. It's not structurally sound anymore. Let's see. The diffuser is relatively okay. You can see we lost a little chunk here from the rubber hitting it. The side of the car is all kind of, you know, from the rubber flopping around. That's easy. That's no big deal. Sort of. Get this, somehow the rubber came up in a way where you can see all like the rubber marks. I cracked my door somehow. There's a bunch of rubber on the door handle. So yeah, I gotta get under there and kind of see if we have any other issues. I thought I heard like an exhaust leak as well, so I gotta kind of get it up, let the car cool down. We got a race in what, 2 hours, 3 hours? I should be good enough to race. I want to take the floor off, put the best tires I have on it, and do what I can do. That's about it. Alright, so inspecting my tire much closer, you can see this chunk came out here. Shut up! And a bunch of the cords are showing, and you can see the sidewall broke all the way out here, you know? Where the inside, we still actually have some of the tread. So I don't think it was an overheat issue from the exhaust. I know I mentioned that earlier in this video or last video, kind of dumping out close to the tire, but like next to it. So I think I'm just like trying to put too much downforce through these little 275 Toyos, honestly. So yeah, I guess, I don't know, gotta step up to a 315 or somehow get some camber in the rear. I think, yeah, I got some work to do. Alright guys, so I just had a buddy stop by and pointed something out to me. That the date code on this tire, apparently that 14 means this tire is from 2014. I didn't think I had tires that old. No idea how I hung around or whatever. But the one that I put on the left rear is now a 19. So it's got much better tread on it. But where my mindset is right now, I was thinking about taking the canards and the flap off and then leveling out the rear wing to kind of pull some total downforce off of the car. But I think what I'm going to do, keep the car exactly how it is. I put that new tire on the rear. Very seldom do I get a chance to do like back-to-back testing. So with no floor on the car, but no other changes to the car, I'm just gonna go out, race, kind of run. If the car feels okay, just kind of go. But I'll be able to get some back-to-back date with the floor and no floor, which I think will be pretty cool. I don't get a chance to do that very much. So, you know, if the car feels a tiny bit weird or whatever, I'm just gonna bring it in. It's, you know, I'm gonna use it as basically a test session. But otherwise, I think the car looks good. The diffuser didn't really take too big of a jolt, so those mounts are good. And, you know, that's about it right now. All right, guys, that was a fun race. Had to fight for third. Mark and Jay just kind of drove away. I could actually see Jay towards the end of the race, but yeah, it's still too far ahead. So the best lap I was able to do was a 58.0 without the flat floor. With the flat floor earlier today on a 2014 tire, I did a string of like mid 57s. So like I could kind of almost say my floor was worth about a half second here at Lime Rock, which would probably be worth more at a longer track. So that's kind of cool. I'll look at the data and everything. The car definitely felt different. It felt balanced, but when I would hit the brakes, it would you know, scrape a little bit more. And I think that's because the flat floor was feeding the diffuser a little bit better. So I think I lost a little bit of rear downforce. Pack up time. It's so hot. So anyways, I think that's about where I'm going to end this one. All things considered, I'm pretty happy with how this weekend went. Aside from that tire blowout, that kind of ruined my record of finishing every lap of every race for I think 5 seasons now. But yeah, we'll go and get the car kind of fixed up and ready for Watkins Glen. Got a couple ideas for some next upgrades. And yeah, so if you like this kind of video, please hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, it really helps us out. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.